founders of Bode and the chief revenue officer here. So my background, we've a number of founders of Bode. Some of them are real estate specialists. My background's more on the tech side. Spent 10 years helping tech companies across the world grow their revenues and help scale. And I've also most recently been working at King, who are the makers of Candy Crush, again, in charge of their commercial effectiveness and helping them grow their revenues. So I've moved over to Bode, and Bode is a new company. Some of you may not have heard of us. We've been live in the market for about 10 months. We are a licensed real estate brokerage, but what we are really is an online platform for buying and selling property. So we connect buyers and sellers, and we let them transact on homes on their own if they want to. They can work with an agent if they like, and they can do the whole process online. And I'm going to take you through some of that later on as well. But yeah, new brokerage serving all of Alberta. And in the last 10 months, we've been growing very quickly. We're now up well over 100 active listings. We've had a lot of transactions, and we are now in the top 10% of brokerages in Alberta. So yeah, thrilled to be here today, and thrilled to tell you a little bit more about what we do and how we can help the flippers. And Garrett, we've also got you on the line.
Yeah. First off, I want to say that I'm really excited to be collaborating with Bode. I think we both offer uniquenesses and can assist with this topic in flipping houses. So yeah, my name's Garrett. I've been an underwriter at Calvert for over 2 years now, and have 6 years of experience in underwriting. Calvert is a family-run business that's been in business for over 45 years, and we truly do care for our clients. And 30% of our book is made up of flips, so we have a lot of experience in that topic, and we get really excited about these types of deals. So looking forward to showing you more of what Calvert does and how we can assist.
Fantastic. And so a little bit of background on how we came to be doing this webinar together. So we actually met through a shared customer who was looking to flip a home. They were working with Calvert on the financing side, and they ended up listing and selling their home through Bode, and that's really how we ended up collaborating. And that's what this next slide is about. Garrett, do you want to talk us through this one?
Yeah, absolutely. This, like Alan said, this was pretty much by chance. Bode and Calvert kind of knew each other before, but it just happened that our clients used Calvert for the financing and then used Bode for the sales side of things, and it worked out extremely well. These clients, it was their first flip. I actually met with them in person, and I feel like that gives them some comfortability of who they're dealing with and how we can help them out. So it was a little unfortunate because they bought this house before COVID, and then they sold during COVID, which we all know is a lot more difficult these days, and the housing market has taken a bit of a hit, but very impressive to see them sell for 99% of their list price on Bode, be able to save that much in commissions and make over $36,000 in under 6 months. And for a first flip, that's all you can ask for. To be able to make a profit on your first flip is very impressive. We hope that they all do, and we want to be able to assist them in any way that we can. And some of the numbers are stated here to go over the financing portion, but we're going to go over it a lot more in detail further on in this. I will point out that we do allow clients to be able to purchase properties with minimal down so that they're able to do the flips that they want to do.
Yeah, fantastic.
Have anything to add there?
From my side, other than just from listing and selling this client's home, they were a dream to work with. They had a very successful sale. They were on the market for about 69 days, so that's about average in the current market. Sold for, as you said, 99% of list price, and ended up selling to a represented buyer. So they did end up paying a buy-side commission, but in terms of the list commission, they paid to Bode, they were able to save over $4,000 on just their list commission alone. Had they sold to an unrepresented buyer, they would have saved even more in commissions. And I guess when you think about that, when the total profit is $36,000, to be able to have saved $4,000 in commissions, I mean that's over 10% of the total profit on the deal. So really, I guess cutting those commissions down makes a big difference in terms of profitability.
Yeah, I should also mention that the 36,000 is net to them. That's after your utility costs, your realtor costs, your financing costs, everything. So in pocket, $36,000, impressive for a first flip.
Yeah. So that's how Bode and Calvert met, but we'll go into much more detail on and more case studies on flips in a moment. To kick us off here, just going to start with 3 things that you need to successfully flip homes that'll kind of tee up the conversation for the rest of the webinar. So the first thing is data and research tools. So it's really important to be able to understand supply and demand in the communities that you're looking to flip homes in, and to be able to research the competition. So what other homes are going to be for sale in the community when you are looking to flip your home, and what have similar homes sold for recently. And at Bode, we have a lot of tools that we provide to our customers and to everyone who goes to our website, where you can look up this information. So I'm going to show you how that works in a few minutes. The second part is making sure you've got the right financing, and that's really where Calvert comes in. So making sure you've got the funding you need to do the flip that you want to do, and that you've got a lender on your team that really understands the market and also understands your specific flip. And to be able to work with a partner who really understands value creation, so what modifications to the house or what renovations are really going to drive the most value and the greatest profit for you when reselling this home. So certainly from Bode's perspective, Calvert's a fantastic partner for all of that, and we'll go through more of the details with Garrett later on that. And then the third part is getting support both buying and selling your home. So being able to find the right properties, being set up with the right searches, so you're the first to find out when something comes to market. And then when it comes to selling, being able to maximize your exposure. And again, like we talked about in the last slide, being able to reduce transaction fees so that you're really maximizing the profit that you make on the flip. So these are the main things that we're going to talk through today. In this order, so it's slightly different order from the slide before, but we're going to start with the data and research tools. So Bode gives you all the data that you need when you're looking to either buy or sell. So we've 3 data tools that I'm going to show you live here in a moment. So the first one's market data, and what this tool lets you do is choose a community that you're interested in, and then see exactly what's on the market right now. So you can see how many listings there are in the specific community, how long they've been on the market. You can see what the average list price is and what the average list price per square foot is. So this really helps you understand supply and demand and see trends in prices and in activity at a community level. The tool we have is called sold data. And this lets you look at the individual details of sold homes. So for any home that's sold in the last 10 years in Alberta, you're able to look up the sold price for that home. And you can just do it all yourself online without needing to contact a realtor. So I'm going to show you how that works. And then the third tool we have is called comparables. And here, the purpose of this is to try to find the best comparables to either the home you're looking to buy or the home you're looking to sell. So you can enter 8 of the most important features of a home, and what we return to you is the closest matches in terms of live listings and also in terms of recently sold properties. So you enter those 8 details, and what you get is, here's a 97% match. It sold 2 months ago, and here's all the features of that home. So three great tools to kind of much better inform your market research and also when you're trying to set your list price. So I'm going to just jump over into our website and show you exactly how some of those work. So I'm going to come out of this presentation and take you over here to the Bode website, so bodecanada.com. This is our homepage. So if you want to get to our data tools, you simply go to the top menu here. It's called My Bode. And you can get directly into those three tools I was just talking about: comparables, sold data, and market data. So let's start with market data. So this is what the page will look like. So a little bit of information about how to interpret some of the data. And then you scroll down to here, which is the live dashboard. It just takes a moment to load. It takes a little longer when I'm screen sharing like this, but it'll load quite quickly for you. So what you're able to do is for any city in Alberta, you can look within communities within that city. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to say, okay, within Calgary, I'm interested in Altadore. So I select Altadore, and I can instantly see below here exactly how many listings are there currently live in Altadore. On average, how long have they been on the market? What's the average list price? And what's the average price per square foot? Now that's kind of interesting just to know for Altadore, but what's much more interesting is to filter down onto my specific market segment. So I could say, well, let's just look at detached homes here. And instead of 107, there's 75 active listings. I could filter on beds and baths or the specific price, or perhaps I'm interested in the year built, because maybe I'm trying to find a 1950s bungalow, say, within Altadore. So I could say, show me only those properties built between 1940 and 1960, say. So now we're down to 6 active listings. So there's 6 live listings. On average, they've been on the market for 81 days. Here's the average list price, and here's the average price per square foot. So that tells me, if I had a renovated 1950s bungalow, this is kind of telling me how much competition is there in this community. Now I can also see the sold data below for the exact same filters. So Altadore detached homes built between 1940 and 1960, I can see 19 of these have sold in the last year. On average, they were on market for 58 days before they sold. And I can see what the average selling price and the average sold price per square foot was. So again, lots of opportunities here to just go deep on any community that I'm interested in and see what some of those metrics look like. So that's market data. Then sold data is one that a lot of people spend a lot of time on. It's great for just satisfying any curiosity you have about the sold prices of homes in your own community or anywhere else. So again, you can choose the city, you can choose the community. I'm just going to choose Altadore here again for the sake of convenience. So let's look at homes in Altadore. When I select that, my map here below is going to zoom in just on the Altadore community here in Calgary. And I get a blue dot for every sold property in the last 1 year. So I can scroll around in here and have a look for properties that I might be interested in. So let's just zoom in to this park. So I can see everything around here that's been sold in the last year. So let's have a look at this blue dot here. I'm going to click on that one. So I can see here the address on 38th Avenue, the year and month when it was sold. So it sold January this year. I can see the sold price. Sold for 430K. It was listed at just under 450K. So sold list price ratio of 96%. And then I can see some of the other key information here. So the square footage, beds, baths, days on market, the year built, etc. So I can see all of the information about this sale. I can also go back much further in time here. So if I'm just looking at 1 year of data here, I can go back 10 years if I want, and I can see if this property is sold at any other time in the last 10 years. It looks like it has. It sold in 2011 for 390K. So yeah, you can browse around the map. You can find any property you want and find out exactly how much it's sold for, if it's sold on market. So that's sold data. And then the third tool we have is called comparables. So this is the one where I told you you have to enter some information about the home you're interested in, and we will return the closest matched comparables to that home. So again, let's take another example here in Altadore. Let's go 37th Avenue, Southwest. We go property type, detached, style, bungalow, year built, 1950. Let's say it's a 5-bed, 2-bath bungalow, 937 square feet, and 2 parking spaces. So this is actually a friend's home that I know sold somewhat recently. So when I click apply, what I get is the highest matched sold listings, and I also get the highest matched live listings. So let's just go through those in order. So you see here, we've got a match of 100%, and it's on the exact property that I just entered. So 1708, 37th Ave, Southwest. So it's a 100% match because it is the exact property. So every detail about this property is the same. It's a detached bungalow, built 1950, 5 beds, 2 baths. I can see it sold here in March 2020. You can see the price it sold for, $740,000. You can see the square footage. And if I want more information on it, such as pictures, etc., I can simply click here and request that, and Bode will send it over to you. So that's the home itself. But equally, I can see, well, other homes nearby have also sold. So I can see there's a 93% match here, and 92%. I can find out all the details of those homes. So you see there are other detached bungalows built in 1950. We have 10 years of sold data in here. So if you're more interested in homes that have sold more recently, you can simply filter here by date sold, so that we're showing you the closest or the most recent sales data. Equally, on the live listing side, this tool is great for seeing what your competition is. So if this is your home and you're interested to know, well, what are buyers going to be comparing my home to, we've got a match score here for all of the live listings. So we can see there's a home for sale currently on 34th Avenue. It's an 83% match. It's about 300 meters from the subject property we entered above. It's also a detached bungalow built in 1949. And I can click into this listing because, of course, it's a live listing, and see exactly what this home looks like and how comparable it might be to the one that I'm looking at. So here is the detached bungalow with the price, beds, baths, and all of the information for it. So that's a very quick spin through our data tools, which I think we've built them, again, with flippers in mind. They're available to anyone. You just need to create an account on Bode. It's free to create an account. There's no commitment to anything, and you have full access to all of this data. So that's our data tools. So next, I'm going to tell you a little bit about buying and selling with Bode. So again, we've got some great tools and features here for flippers too. So when it comes to buying with Bode, here's what the Bode solution looks like. So you can search listings on our website, bodecanada.com. We have all of the MLS listings for all of Alberta on our site, and we of course have our own listings on there too. And some of our listings never go to MLS, so there are some off-market listings on our site too, which can be particularly interesting for flippers. And when you're searching listings, you can always search specifically for Bode listings just by simply selecting that as a filter. You can set up a free account. Like we said, that's what gives you access to My Abode and all of those data tools, so you can do all of the market research you want to do. You can create your own saved searches, which is really helpful for flippers. So you can set up a search that will notify you whenever a new property comes up for sale in an area that you're interested in. So again, if you were interested in Altadore, you could set up a saved search to notify you as soon as anything in Altadore comes on the market. And you can set the criteria there to be as specific as you like. The other nice thing about our saved search functionality is because many of our sellers will list on Bode for a week or two before going to MLS, realtor.ca. It means if you're set up for these notifications, you might actually find out about some properties that before they go to realtor.ca and other people get to see them. So you can then schedule a showing. Say a listing comes up that you're interested in. You can schedule a showing directly from our site in just a few clicks. So all you have to do is choose the date and time that works for you. and that instantly gets confirmed. I'll show you how that works in a moment. You can, of course, then go and do your showing. You can make any notes you want while you're there, all online through our website. You can chat with the seller. We've got a suite of chat tools. So from our site, again, you're in instant contact with the seller of the home. That's when it's a Bode listing. When it's a Realtor.ca listing, you are in contact with the listing agent. And you can also make an offer online. So you can simply click the Make an Offer button on any listing page, and we walk you through how to put together a complete offer, including all of the terms that you might want to attach to your offer, inspection conditions and financing conditions, etc. You can negotiate those terms back and forth, again, all online if you want to. Of course, you're always free to do this offline as well. We give you all the contracts that you need. And then you can finalize the deal and ultimately buy your new home. So really simple, and I'll give you a quick demo of some of those features now in a moment. So that's how it works for buyers. For sellers, it's quite similar, but we offer quite a few extra things on top for sellers. So for our sellers, Bode covers the cost of professional photos, RMS measurements, and we also create a 3D virtual tour for your home. Then we list your property on Realtor.ca, we list it on Bode, list it on Zillow. People are not that familiar with Zillow sometimes, but in Canada, they get quite a lot of traffic, and there's a lot of buyers looking on Zillow for new homes, so we also list there. And we list on Kijiji, Facebook Marketplaces, and a whole bunch of other sites where people are looking online. Obviously, the main place people go is Realtor.ca, but Zillow is picking up some traction, and we are also getting a lot of traffic to our site now as well. So what we then do, which is very different from a normal listing brokerage, is we advertise your specific listings. So we buy ads on Facebook, Instagram, and Google, and we target an audience of active buyers. So we do all of this at our own expense and no charge up front. And what we've seen is we've been able to generate 2 to 3 times more listing views, which ultimately turn into more showings for your property and more offers as a result. So 2 to 3 times more listing views on Bode than on Realtor.ca. And again, that's thanks to our advertising approach. So as I mentioned earlier, we put buyers in direct contact with our sellers then right from the listing page. So from your listing page, a buyer can send you a direct message, they can book a showing instantly in just a couple of clicks, and they can do all of this without needing to contact a buy-side agent. So again, we're increasing the likelihood of you being able to attract an unrepresented buyer, which again cuts down your commission fees. So like I said, buyers can make offers on our platform, they can negotiate with sellers back and forth, and they can even sign contracts all online. They can, of course, do it offline if they prefer. If you're nostalgic and you like pen and paper, that's still possible, but we've tried to make our online tools so good that people want to do it online. But effectively, you're given everything you need to transact with every realtor. So you're given all the checklists and all the contracts that you need to do it yourself. We also give you back a bunch of detailed analytics about the performance of your listing. So we'll show you exactly how many views you've had on Realtor, how many views you've had on Bode, and how many views you've had on the other listing sites. So you can see how well your listing is doing. We get in touch with you on a weekly basis to keep you up to date on exactly how your listing is performing. Encourage you to share your listing on social media and get more exposure out there. And our sellers get all of this for just a 1% fee when the home sells. So if the home doesn't sell, you don't owe us anything. And if it does sell, it's just a 1% fee, which is significantly less than you'd be paying a traditional listing agent. So a traditional listing agent would be 3.5% on the first 100,000 and 1% on the balance. So depending on the price of your home, you might be paying 2 to 3% to a traditional listing agent. So that's what it looks like for sellers. I'm just going to show you really quickly here what some of our ads look like. So I mentioned we run ads for your listing. So here's an example of some Facebook ads we've run for a builder who lists home with us. So you can see some pictures of the outside of the home, you can see the price, the community it's in, and the strong call to action here to book a viewing. So you can scroll through the photos here in this ad, so you can see pictures of the kitchen, the living room, master bedroom, etc. So whenever someone clicks on one of these ads, they get taken to your listing on our site. So this is how we're trying to generate more interest in your listing. And then we've also created an augmented reality for sale sign that goes outside your home. Someone can scan it with their phone, so it's a QR code, like we all use in restaurants now. So you scan it with your phone, you're prompted to download our app, you scan the sign again with your phone, and you get this experience live on the screen of your phone. So you can see exactly what the list price is, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage, and at the top then pops one of the key features of the home. So it's a much more kind of modern experience of looking at a for sale sign outside of home. But the main thing is that you can click right from your screen to view the listing, and you'll get taken to the listing page on our website, where you could, if you want, instantly book a showing or get in touch with the seller. So I'm just very quickly going to show you what that looks like. So again, come out of a presentation, you can come over here to our website. So I've got an example listing open here. So this is on the test part of our website, just for the purpose of this demo. I'm not going to actually book a real viewing here, but you can see an example of what a listing page might look like, the photos, the price, beds, baths, all the information. I can get in direct touch with the seller here by simply asking a question. So I click to ask a question. I can ask anything I want down here. Is this an RC2 lot? I click send, and instantly the seller will receive a notification letting them know the buyer has messaged them about their property. So I can go back and forth here with the seller all online about their property. So if I'd like to then book a viewing, all it takes is simply clicking this book a viewing button. I can see what days and times the seller has made available. So I'm going to say I'd like to come on Friday. I can see what times are available for that seller, and I'll say, okay, I'd like to come at 2 p.m. So I click to make a request, and again, instantly that gets sent over to our seller here, who's Jeffrey in this case, and I can see that, yep, my showing request has been sent for this address at this date and time, and as soon as the seller approves it, I'll get a notification letting me know that I'm good to go for that showing request. And then the last thing I'm just going to quickly show you is the make an offer button. So you can make an offer on any property you want here, whether it's listed with Bode or whether it's listed through any other agent on MLS. You can do that all on our website. Simply click to make an offer, and then we coach you through everything you need to put together a complete offer. So the first part is whose names are going to go on the contract, so who are the purchasers. If it's just you, or if there's going to be, if you're buying with a spouse or a fellow investor, you can add that person's name here. Otherwise, how much would you like to offer? So you can say, okay, I'll offer 10K under list price, so 420,000. We can specify a deposit amount, typically 3 to 5%. Then you go into timing, so when will you transfer the deposit? You can choose when you'd like to do that. So I'll say I'll do it on Tuesday. When would you like to take possession? I'd like to take possession September 1st. Then we're into the terms and conditions. If there's any appliances included with this sale, or if there's any other unattached goods that are coming with the property, they'll auto-populate here for you to edit. The same with excluded attached goods. So these might be, if there's a dining room chandelier that's attached to the building, but it's not included in the sale, those can be edited here. You can add any conditions you have. So if you want to add a financing condition, you can just simply click that checkbox and then let us know when you're going to remove that condition. So you can say, okay, I'll remove that condition by Friday the 28th at 9 p.m. You can add an inspection condition. You can actually add any other condition that you want. And you can also add any terms to the sale. So these would be things like if you want to include repairs, or if you want to insist that you can do a number of walkthroughs before the possession date, you can add all of those in here. Otherwise, you click through to review, you get a one-page summary of all the offer details that you've just created here. You can add a note to the seller. So if you want to explain your offer or tell them why you've offered the price you have, or if you want to just write a short note, you can do that here. And choose then how long you want to make your offer available for. So I'll say I'll make it available until Friday at 1 p.m. And then you simply hit submit. and that goes over to the other side for them to either accept, counter, or reject. So all of that negotiation can take place here online without necessarily having to be in person. And once you've agreed on the terms back and forth there during negotiation, all of that gets populated into a contract online for both parties to sign, and then you've got a binding agreement. So that's a whirlwind tour through some of our Bode features that help flippers. And but I'm going to leave it there for the Bode side of things, and now hand over to Garrett to take us through finance.
Thanks, Alan. First off, I just want to state to everyone, I've had the full tour of Bode's website and how it works, and it is probably the easiest thing I've seen to be able to do a purchase contract and go from talking to the current owners to buying a property. It's crazy what you've done compared to other list it yourself websites. Couldn't be easier. So if it looked complicated, it's not. It's and I don't think it looked complicated, but it's even easier than what he did. So very impressive. For Calvert, I just want to go through first off just some things to consider when doing flips, and what's going to make you the most profitable. Like I said at the start of the presentation, we're very focused on making sure that our clients do the best that they can on each and every flip, and we treat everyone as if it's our only client. So we want to make sure that you're successful. First off, buying right, very important. Most flippers who have been in the market know that buying right is probably the most important thing. Being able to get a property for under or at market is going to be where you're going to make your profit. Renovating for the market, make sure that if you're in a lower end neighborhood, you're not going above and beyond. You don't want to be the highest priced property on the market in that neighborhood. You want to renovate to the market. Sticking to a budget, very important. Doing renovations quickly. As we know, it's very important for you to complete your renovations on the timeline that you set and be able to stick on budget. So getting those renovations done can only increase your profits when it comes to flipping. And understanding the reno costs, so making sure you have a team involved, make sure you have the right contractors and understand what they're going to be charging you, so you know those costs up front. Go to the next one. Yeah, so Alan touched a bit on neighborhood. We think it's very important to understand where to flip and what to look for when you're looking for a property in a certain neighborhood. The biggest thing for us is looking at inventory. Want to make sure that the inventory is around the 3 months or 4 months of inventory. Otherwise, it's going to be a longer time to sell. So it's very important to do your research, look at what the ceiling is for sales, and use Bode's tool for that. Going on that comparable page that Bode has to be able to look at what's selling and what the price range is based on your square footage and how many beds you have is super important. So understanding where you're at with that and looking at active sales as well. You want to make sure that you understand what properties are listed at and know what you're competing against. Valuation techniques is also extremely important. We do our own valuations at Calvert. We have an in-house appraiser who does appraisals at no cost to you or your clients. And obviously you can use some of Bode's tools as well to understand what you might be valuing your property at. Make sure you stick to your numbers. So once you have a plan set, once you have a budget set, make sure you stick to those. Don't go off budget. Don't go off of other numbers. You want to make sure you stick to those. And base your value on active sales over the last 6 months. As we know, the market's changing every day, and it's been a crazy last 6 months. So it's important to understand what's selling within the last 6 months to know during this pandemic what's been selling and at what price. We also state to price to sell. Don't shoot for the stars. We've seen a lot of clients, once they complete a renovation, they will be so in love with the property, they'll want to say, hey, my property is not worth this anymore. It's worth 60 grand more. Don't go for that. We work with you to make sure that we think you're going to make a profit. And if you stick to your budget, you stick to your timeline, and you get it done for that price and that time, you're still going to make a profit at what we valued it and what we think you should be selling it for. So if you can sell it quickly at that price and be able to sell it within a month and go on to the next one, your profit is going to be greater than what you would do sitting on the market for that time period of 3 months or longer, because of the carrying costs and other costs that go with holding a property for that long. And compare recent sales in the same neighborhood. So when we do our valuations, we want to make sure that we're sticking within the same neighborhood. As Alan pulled up online there, he pulled up Altador. It's very important when you are looking at other comparables not to go outside the neighborhood. Sometimes you might have to, but if we don't have to, we're not going to, because it's important to stick within that neighborhood and make sure that you know what you're competing against. And then just some important things to look at when you're comparing. If you don't mind going back there, Alan, just the last point. Some comparisons in lot size, building size, room count, basement. All those are important things to take into account when valuing your property and understanding what your property is worth. And you'll see many times that I state the same point over and over, because it's true. You make your money on the buy. You want to be able to close quickly. From speaking with multiple flippers, the good deals are not lasting long. If a property comes on the market and it's well below what it should be listed at, it's not going to last long on the market. So we suggest that you find the right partners, like Bode, like Calvert. Make sure you have other team members to make sure that you're ready to go. With Calvert, what you can do is you can provide us with your personal information, like application, credit, income, budget, and details about the reno, and we can pre-approve or make sure that we approve you on a personal basis, so that once you find a property of interest, we can quickly value that property so that you can go in and offer on that property with no finance condition. So that's just another benefit, and something that I think a lot of people these days are underestimating how important it is. I've actually, from personal experience within the family, have had a family member try and sell their property, and twice it's fallen through on finance condition. So it's just so frustrating. And if there's no finance condition, I think it's very helpful to be able to make that offer. Mm-hmm. And I state in here, solve someone's pain. It's unfortunate the times that we're going through, but there are going to be a lot of opportunities going forward. I think with the unemployment rate and how people's finances are, it's sad to say, but a lot of them will have to sell, and they want to sell to be able to get out of the trouble that they're in. And you can solve that pain by buying it off them quickly so that they don't incur any more costs and can take some profit out of that property. So sourcing deals. We don't directly help with this. This is where more Bode would come into play. Being able to look at the active listings and stuff like that and be able to compare them right then and there, be able to know if it's a good deal or not. But we're happy to assist you once you have a property in mind. You say, hey, would you mind taking a look at this? I'm going to do these renovations. I'm going to do this budget. Could you do a quick valuation for me? And we can see if it's going to be a profitable deal for me. We're happy to do that, and we're happy to work with you. But it's important to be ready. So again, I say have a team, have a realtor or Bode. I think some of you will have a realtor that you have, but Bode has all those tools for you set up there to be able to look through just comparables and what's sold, what's active. And you saw how easy it was to be able to see what things are listed at and what that property might be worth. And the financing, super important to have in place. If you are going into a bank and you state, I have this property, I'm looking to flip it, they're not going to approve you if you're doing a flip. What lots of people do is they'll go into a bank and they'll state, hey, I'm going to buy this property and do some renos and live in it. But a lot of the time they go through with renovations and they then want to sell, and your relationship can be a bit tainted with the bank if you're doing that. And we all know how slow the banks can be these days with all the calls they're getting from deferrals and certain things. So I can assure you that the closing is not going to be very quick with the bank. You're not going to get the deals that you want. Checking titles, important to look at. If you have a property in mind, maybe you can pull a title and you see that there's a builder's lien, a writ, tax liens, condo fees, anything like that. That'll just tell you that that client is in a bit of trouble with finance-wise and they need some help. So they're probably looking to sell and sell quickly. Foreclosures, expired listings, poor exterior shape, those are all things that you look for in a flip. It's unfortunate, but you can take advantage of those. And a lot of people are going to shy away from those poor exterior shape. They're going to look so nasty that it's just not worth taking over and doing the work. But we know that doing the work for flipping can be the most profitable thing. It can be really nice structurally, but have some issues internally that you need to fix up. Again, quick renovation, super important. I can't state this enough how important it is. And these days you might need to budget for a little longer renovation, but stick to that timeline. The reason why it might take a longer is we know that a lot of different material and stuff can come from overseas. So it can take some time to get over here and get installed, and you might need to have different contractors in at different times to stick with social distancing. So it can take a bit more time, so budget accordingly, but try and shoot for as quick a renovation as you can. And obviously you need to take into account, if it's a small renovation, you should be able to do it a lot faster. If it's a bigger renovation, it'll take a little more time. So make sure you budget for that as well. And here's just a quick few things that we look for, and we think they add significant value. And as you've probably heard before, kitchens, super important. Going with what's on trend. I know everyone here might watch those HGTV shows that show you what's on trend and whatnot, and they actually have some good tips with that. The things they don't show you are probably the full costs of what it costs to get those done. But going on a trend basis, yes, they have some things that are correct. And doing those new kitchens, the new bathrooms are super important, can add a lot of value, new appliances. And I think before a lot of you came on, Alan asked me what's the worst flip story I had. And it was due to not doing a property inspection. A client stated that he was a contractor and knew what he was looking for and everything, and there was a crack in the foundation after he bought it, and had to spend an additional 40 grand to be able to get that fixed. So make sure that it's structurally sound before you take it over. Yeah, so now I want to dive in quickly to our flip program. As I stated at the start, we are 30% of our book, which our book is 120 million. 30% of it is made up of flips. So it's a large percentage of our book, and we really enjoy working with flippers and trying to make them successful. Good deals sell fast. As I said, they're going off the market quickly. Lots of properties are staying on the market for a long time, but the good deals are going fast. So make sure you have that plan and need to close quick. We can close quickly. We can, as I said, do the valuation within 1 day, and if not faster. If we need to do it quicker, we can do it within a couple hours, to be able to let you know if you can go in with a unconditional offer to be able to purchase the property. And we lend on the basis of an as complete value. So we are going based on what we value the property as complete instead of what it is right now. So we're able to lend you more money on that basis. I stated a little bit of this before, but traditional financial institutions likely won't lend to you if you're doing a flip, and you state you're buying it and selling it within 3 months. But if you do go with them, make sure you understand that there's going to be payout penalties, and those can be quite large. With our financing, we do them fully open, so it's a big benefit. So underwriting philosophy, if it's a profitable deal, we want to be involved. That's our motto through these. We work with you to make sure that we think it's going to be a good deal and a profitable deal. If we don't think it's going to be a profitable deal, we're likely going to advise you that we don't think it's a good deal and you shouldn't move forward. If you're adamant about it and you have some backing of, hey, I'm going to be doing this to the property, I'm going to be doing this, and I think it could add value this way, and you prove your point, we will move forward with you. If we think it's viable and we're confident that we think you're going to be making money. We're truly in it for the clients. We don't want to see anyone lose money. It's important to us that we see success in flipping. Valuing the properties as if complete. So we require a budget and a description of your renovations. The more detailed, the better, because that's going to allow us to be able to accurately value your property as if complete. It's very difficult to value a property as if complete because we can't see what it looks like. So the more detailed it is, the better, and the better we'll be able to give you an idea of what your property will be worth after the renos. And this is where we get into how little you have to put down with us in order to do a flip. We can do financing up to a purchase price minus 10 grand. All you have to put down is 10 grand. Our fees are added on top to our loan amount. So it really is only 10 grand plus your legal fees, closing costs, that sort of stuff. But it's pretty amazing that you can do these flips with so little money and be able to make a significant amount on a return on investment. And I should as well state that throughout, so you're going to need the 10 grand down with us, plus the cost of renovations, as well as making monthly interest-only payments. So it's all dependent on your reno budget, how much you'll need, but we do want to be able to see that you have that money to be able to take the project through to the end. So this is our solution. We provide, it's a little complicated, number one, right now, due to COVID. We've scaled back our loan to values a bit. So right now we're more on the low end. We're doing 70% loan to value on the after repair value. We don't want to exceed that right now because there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. So it's important for us to preserve our capital as well as make sure we're doing the best we can for our clients. We ask for a minimum down of 10 grand, and we want to make sure that you have the capital for the renovations. It's a pretty simple process, and we're gonna help you through it and make sure that we think it's going to be a profitable deal for you. So again, we do same day, no fee in-house valuations. So if you're looking at a property and say you have Bode or a realtor on your side, we think it's really important to get a second set of eyes. Make sure you feel comfortable with what the as complete value is, and make sure there's margin there for you. If there is a decline in real estate values, make sure there's a good margin so that you feel comfortable. Hey, if I go a little bit over budget or I take a little longer than I expected, I'm still going to make a profit if I sell for this. So really important. Our interest rates are typically 9.9 to 15.5%. The 15.5% is when you're putting the 10 grand down. And as you put more money down, we drop our interest rate. And I also want to point out that that's on an annual basis. So if you're doing a flip in 3 months, it's not going to cost that. The 15.5% is about 1.3% per month. So it's a lot less if you think of it on the basis of how long a flip is going to take. And then our fee is between 1.5% to 3% of the loan amount. This is just dependent on each deal, and we do it on a case-by-case basis. So feel free to reach out and we can discuss where pricing would be. Looks like we're getting close on time, so I'm going to kind of go through these quickly, but I think I mentioned most of this. And like I said, the interest rate is reduced the more you put down. And all these mortgages are provided on a fully open basis, so there's no payout penalties when you pay it out. Super important to note that, because there can be some super large payout penalties when you go through a financial institution. Benefit a small down payment, so you're not having to put a lot of skin in the game up front, not a lot of risk on your end, and we just support profitability. We want to make sure that you do well. So into just a couple quick case studies, you can kind of see all the numbers here. But again, clients just had to put 10 grand down. We provided a loan amount of 257,000 on a purchase price of loan amount of 257,000. Purchase price was 267,000. Renovation budget was 44 grand, which is quite reasonable. That's typically where we see things, is around that 30 to 40 range. And a fully open mortgage. They had the commitment fee as well. And again, as I pointed out in the first case study, the net profit is net. It's after your utilities, realtor costs, and your realtor costs could be lower with Bode if you're using them. So keep that in mind. After carrying costs, everything. So 32,000 on this one. And they did a great job of opening up the space and making it welcome to new buyers. And another one here, you can see same thing. You can see on the left-hand side there was a wall cutting off the kitchen to the living room. They cut that out, made it very bright, open space, nice little islands. So they did a really good job on the cosmetics in this property, and they stuck to the trend. Right now, a big trend is white kitchens. They did well with doing that, new appliances, and they were able to make over $40,000 in just over 3.5 months. So this is your ideal flip. They didn't spend a lot of time renovating. They didn't spend a lot of time on market. They listed right, and they got it done quickly, moved on to the next one. So again, you look at this and you see a high interest rate, but because they're only spending 3.5 months holding this mortgage, it doesn't add up to a lot, especially when there's no payout penalty. So, and again, they get our expertise too. They get our valuations and what we think they might make on this property.
Garrett, I have a question from the audience, just a specific one. The question is, it looks like that wall was taken out when they did the reno for $44,500. That seems low, being able to take out a wall?
So the one, I think, up, Alan. Is that right? This one?
Yeah, correct.
Is that right? Okay, so the 44,000, it might be a bit low, but keep in mind that a lot of these flippers are doing the work themselves. So I know this client, and he's a contractor, and by trade, he does that sort of stuff. So he saved a lot of money by doing it himself in that sense. But also this, and he's done multiple of these, so I know he saves a lot in his costs because he's ordered so many times through the same flooring person, same material. So he does get discounts through that.
Perfect. Thank you.
I shouldn't say he, it should be client, but now you know. So if you don't mind just going back real quick on to the one before, just quickly.
This one?
Yeah, this one. So take in mind this one, and then I'm going to go to the next slide, which is going to show you our flip analyzer tool. So you can go to the next one. And this tool is what we use before you start a project to see if we think you're going to make a profit. So you see that we take all costs into account. In this case, like I said, these people have done multiple flips, so they got a large discount on the realtor fee, and they probably would get even more of a discount using Bode. So we take all costs into account, take the time to renovate, renovation budget, after repaired value. So in this case, I'm using all the after numbers, but this gives you a good idea of what we look at before you start a project, so we can see if we think you're going to make a profit and if it's a good deal. And we're happy to send this out to you. We've marketed it as a flip analyzer tool that both Calvert and Bode have created, and we think it's a great way to analyze a flip and make sure that you think it's going to be worthwhile. And this just quickly goes through the profit side of things. So total cash needed for this project was $87,000, just over. And you can see the return on cash invested. I really want to point out return on cash invested as well as return on cash invested annualized. That return is amazing. For the amount of time that they spend, you don't see that return, particularly in the stock market. Maybe you invested in a Tesla a few months ago and you did all right, but other than that, this is pretty impressive, and we hope to see this on every one of our flips, and we want to make sure we work with you to do that.
Garrett, I have another question for you from the audience. If Calvert goes to 70% LTV, does that mean that the buyer needs to come up with $10K plus the reno plus 30%, or the rest of the purchase price?
No, so it's on an as complete basis. So how I should state it, and that's my bad for not being more clear, but we will go to a max of purchase price minus 10 grand. And as long as that amount does not exceed 70% of the as complete value, we will give them that loan. So let's say a purchase price is 400,000 and we think the as complete value is 600,000. We would do the loan amount of 390,000 plus the fee, and then you would be required to put the 10 grand down, the renovation costs and carrying costs of the mortgage, but that's it. Because our loan amount of 390 based on 600,000 is less than 70% of the as complete value. Mm-hmm. That makes sense, hopefully, for that person.
It does. I also responded it in writing, and so if they have further questions there.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Any other questions, Lindsay?
Those are like all the questions that I've received in the thread right now. As everyone can see, Alan and Garrett's contact details are up there on the slide. Feel free to reach out directly to them. You can even call them lots as well. I'm sure they really appreciate lots of phone calls. But honestly, we are all extremely excited to take on conversations with flippers because, of course, flippers of all people know their homes the most. They put elbow grease into it, and it's up to both of us, both companies, Calvert and Bode, that are really invested in making sure that you keep the money that you invested in your property and put that in your pocket, as opposed to somebody who comes in at the end or somebody who is seeing it as a higher risk investment. So the dream team of Bode plus Calvert will really assist you in making sure that you get the return you're looking for on your flips.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as well, just want to point out that flip analyzer is available, and I think we'll be able to send out the slides as well. Just need contact information, which I don't know if you have, but yeah.
Yes, we do. So we'll be able to send out a copy of this slide deck. We also recorded this webinar today, so the recording of the webinar will be available publicly, as well as to people who attended this webinar today. So if there's someone in your life that really could have received a lot of value from this webinar, don't hesitate to share that with them as well.
Fantastic.
Great.
To wrap up, just want to say a huge thanks to Garrett and everyone at Calvert for working with us on this. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're thrilled to be working together. And thanks again, everyone, for joining. Please do feel free to reach out to Garrett and myself at any time.
Yeah, same with you, Alan. Thanks for having us on here and great working with you. I think it's going to be a great team going forward for flippers.
Thanks, Garrett. And thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll wrap this up now. Thanks very much.
Thank you.